Well, hello, it's me, Brandon from the Cantrip cast and the Dungeon Master of Cantrip at D&D Podcast. Now, the first thing you're probably thinking is,
why haven't you posted any content on the YouTube channel even though you promised you were going to months ago?
well, you see, friends, there's a good reason for that, and you're actually kind of looking at it. I bought a house, and it's been a lot of work. Been painting walls and tearing up floors and putting down carpet and putting down new floors and moving furniture and drywalling and painting more and doors and woodwork. And anyways, it's been a lot. I've been doing a lot of stuff. It's Jesus Christ, it's been a long couple months. They don't tell you how much work goes into buying a house until you become an adult and you actually go and buy one, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And on top of that, I'm getting married in a couple months, and so yeah, I've been very busy. Basically, I had to prioritize my upcoming wedding and buying this house and being an adult over really anything else. I did make sure to release the podcast on a weekly basis still, but I figured I had to put the YouTube videos on hold until now. So yeah, basically, I've been very busy doing all these adulty things and adulty stuff and whatnot, but I am here and I am going to be posting videos weekly now. Or at least I am going to try. But anyways, I promise I'm going to be delivering more content with me, my cast, and some other friends that are going to come along for the ride. So today, what are we doing? Well, you see, I went to my local game store the other day and I wanted to pick up this. The Stranger Things box set for D&D. Yay! Yeah, so the Stranger Things box set's been out for a couple weeks now, and I'm a big Stranger Things fan, as well as my fiance. And I was like, I'm gonna go pick this up, because, you know, we like Stranger Things, and it's a cool little thing to collect, because I like collectible D&D stuff. And I'm like, maybe I can do an unboxing or something generic with this, because, you know, I don't know, content and stuff, but then it's be overdone, because people have already been there and beat me to it. But then I found this. Yeah, this is cool. It's a Rick and Morty versus D&D. It is all the comics combined into one book, which was, okay, that's pretty cool. You know, Dungeons & Dragons, Rick and Morty, that's a cool combination. But then you read the back of it, and it reads, includes an all-new exclusive adventure module created just for this edition. And I'm like, that's cool. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what we're going over. So, yeah, again, this is not a review for the comic that is inside of here. I did read the comic. I took some time yesterday, read through it. There's like 4 or 5 comics total in here that goes through the kind of like saga of Rick and Morty versus the realm of D&D. And it's fun. It's cool. It's funny. If you like D&D, if you like Rick and Morty, you're going to enjoy the comic a lot. But the biggest thing about this that drew me in to want to review it and just play it in general after reading it is, can I find it? All right, here it is. The Temple of Glorb. It's actually a module written by the writers of Rick and Morty that they put in this book. Yeah. Wasn't expecting this. So let's get started. So the first thing that drew me into the book initially was I saw Rick and Morty at the very top as I glimpsed my eyes across the aisle, the alley to check out. But not only did it say Rick and Morty, it's got Rick and Morty fighting fucking Tiamat on the front of the cover. And I was like, all right, well, you got my attention right there. If you want to get somebody's attention in D&D, you put Tiamat on the cover of something with Rick and Morty in a corner. You're pretty well guaranteed to get attention of people. Yeah. So, but spoiler, Tiamat is not in the module at all. Yeah. So the way we're going to break this down review-wise is I'm going to start with some player stuff and then move into the more Dungeon Master / running the module type stuff. Because if you're a player, you don't want to, you know, listen to the module-y, DM-y stuff, especially if you got a DM that picked this up that's going to run it. You don't want to hear all the spoilers and stuff. So if you're a player, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's actually pretty fun from what it seems. I read through this module a couple times, and surprisingly for it to be a, you know, just a really small level 1 campaign, this is really interesting and really fun. And if I was a player myself and I found out a DM that I know was like, hey, we're going to run the Temple of Glorb, I'd be like, yeah, cool. I heard it was good. It's actually really fun. On to the DM stuff, which includes the spoilers. I'm telling you now, spoiler warning for the module. Leave if you don't want to hear the spoilers, if your DM has picked this up for you guys to run. So, Story overview. It all started when a wizard named Skabloo went to Deathplume Island to set up a laboratory to study the far realms, which is never a good idea. After much arcane dabbling, Skabloo finally contacted an imprisoned entity known as Glorb the Membrous. Glorb's immense will soon crumble Skaloop's tiny mind and reduce the wizard to a mindless, gibbering servant. Once under Glorb's control, Skaloop started building the Cosmic Trepanator, a device that would create a dimensional hole to free Glorb from prison and transport him to the material plane. To house and power the Cosmic Trepanator, Skaloop retrofitted an ancient tomb inside the active volcano on Deathplume Island and enslaved the native population of the island to do so. Skaloop is now close to summoning his master. So yeah, that's the story overview. So I'm going to start off with saying, to run this campaign module, mini campaign module thing, stuff, you actually don't need to know anything about Rick and Morty. I sent this to the group chat of my Cantrip cast players for the podcast, and I was like, hey, I totally got this. We can run this as a one-off for one of the episodes. And some people, Ian, aren't big fans of Rick and Morty, but, so I was kind of like, all right, it's fine. We don't have to run it. You don't like Rick and Morty. You don't want anything to do with this book. I guess I'll find some other players to run with. So yeah, but then, goddammit, I read through the entire module, and the module has almost nothing to do with Rick and Morty. The closest Rick and Morty references you're gonna get are the weird, goofy names like Skabloob and Glorb and other weird things like that. But other than that, that's it. Ugh. But other than that, that's it. It's all just a regular, good old-fashioned D&D campaign, which is, yeah, I'm actually really surprised. So anyways, running the adventure, our heroes start off in the Lonely Lobster, a tavern in the port town of Skibbereen, or any port town of your choosing. It doesn't have to be Skibbereen. If you just want to throw this into your campaign, you can do that. That's fine. Rumors around the Lonely Lobster, there are rumors around the Lonely Lobster, but none more than those hushed whispers of the volcanic island that lies a few miles offshore, Deathplume Island. For all encounters in the Lonely Lobster, and use the commoner's stats. And below that, it shows a bunch of different, things that commoners can say and what they'll do and say to them when they interact. And eventually the heroes start to hear more rumors about this Deathplume Island and the possible wizard that could be there. Long story short, you want to have your players convinced to go to Deathplume Island through one of these NPC commoners, and it's really cool because there's actually like 4 or 5 of them on here that pretty in depth, which is pretty cool. Deathplume Island. So it's a volcanic island covered in a jungle foliage, rumored to be filled with monstrous life. Cool. All the tribespeople and townsfolk there are mutated because of the events that are taking place on the island. And now this is where the campaign actually starts to open up and draws me in as a player and a DM. So some modules are very linear and they aren't that fun to run at times because you just get straight in one direction, one path, and can't really veer off from the path because there's nothing written in the book for you to do that way, and unless the DM wants to make it all up, but then you stray away from the actual module, and at that point you might as well run a fucking homebrew campaign. This is different. This is actually, the writers of this did a really, really, really good job. From the start, you can approach the island different ways. You can take by air, you can take by sea. If you take by air and go directly towards the volcano, eventually your skin starts to just melt and the players could possibly die, so they got to emergency land somewhere random on the island. If they take a boat, they can then land anywhere on the island, on the boat, on whichever side they want to, and eventually you get to, here's the map of the island. They actually have maps in this too. See it right there? Yeah, nothing too fancy or crazy in depth, but yeah, it's a map. Yeah, so you look at the map, and there are different coordinates on the map. So there's D2, D3, D4, D1, T1, so forth, so forth, so forth. And they're all labeled in here. So these players can go to these different things. They don't know where they're at, depending on where they land on the island. There's polluted rivers, secret caves, abandoned huts. There is a shipwreck bay, coves, a bunch of random secret huts, and in the different huts they can find different people and find out clues to find out where this temple is, where they gotta go and stop the big bad guy. It's cool. Like, this gives your players an open opportunity to go across this island however they want to do and just go island adventuring and exploring. And you pretty much decide what they run into at this point, judging by where they're at on the map. And yeah, this is really detailed, surprisingly, for a Rick and Morty end of comic book campaign. Something else I like is that they have island encounters. Every 3 hours in the game, you roll 3d6, and there's an encounter chart written here for awakened trees, cannibal mutants, bloodhawks, giant frogs, giant spiders, harpies, reef sharks, and sturges. I fucking hate sturges. Fucking buzzy ass little fucking. So eventually, your players are going to make it to the Temple of Glorb, which there's also a map for that too, right there. Yeah, pretty cool. Kind of has a cartoony Rick and Morty-esque style to it for the map, but it's there. And the cool thing is they can actually make it to this temple in more than one way. It's not just a streamlined way to make it to the temple. There's actually another way they can make it there, which is almost a shortcut. And through the temple and through the forest, as they travel, they fight different creatures and they talk about different things and they discover different people. And it's really, really interactive. And the more I keep reading into this, the more I'm like, wow, this is a lot for a level 1 adventure. There's a lot going on, which is fine. It's fine, but it's a lot. Not that that's a bad thing. So as you keep going through the Temple of Glorb, there are multiple other rooms that are also labeled in here, which are extremely very detailed with everything that's in them and what happens and what could happen, what could possibly happen. Then eventually you get to a point in this, temple that could add a big ass twist to the game called the Contact Room, where one of your players can actually contact Glorb, the membranous, and possibly become evil and turn a tide into the game, which is cool. Again, the more you read into this thing, the more really in depth it gets, and you can really tell how they got creative with this for it being, like I said, just a couple page module at the end of a Rick and Morty comic book. Basically, if they contact Glorb, the person that contacts Glorb can either be tempted by him or dominated by him, in which he pretty much takes either in each scenario, the domination scenario, he pretty much takes over him and he enslaves the person and he's at their command. Or the temptation one is, the player pretty much has to do what he's told to do or else he's going to die, and in which case his thing is to get Glorb out of there. So yeah, but the thing is the players don't know about this, which is cool. So if somebody contacts him by accident and one of these things happens, that means somebody could be a traitor in the party. So when they go to finally stop, Sklaboob from freeing Glorb, then they could add a whole, just a big twist into the game, which is sweet. Eventually, after they make their way through the Temple of Glorb, they make it to the Caldera, which again, another little map. Caldera the volcano, yeah. Right there. It's pretty cool. And yeah. Really cartoony. Again, that's even labeled too. The entrance, the lava, the pathways, the machine thing that this Sklaboob was trying to make to get Glorb, these fucking names, get Glorb back. And the Caldera, they eventually contact Sklaboob, and there's a big showdown on stopping him. And there is a section in here, if you want to make things a little more challenging for your players, if you want, you can add a ticking clock to the Trepanator, where you make the device fire in 1d6 plus 6 turns, which will ultimately free Sklaboob. It even gives you an ending if they fail, which is cool. And this is really cool because you can lead this into, maybe a more drastic campaign. Maybe this can be your starting mission for a campaign. If they fail, then maybe the entire campaign is about them fighting this Glorb fucking frog guy. The bad ending reads, if Glorb is summoned, the world is plunged into centuries of darkness and enslavement, in which the characters are reduced to mindless slaves in service of Star Spawn and their dark god, Glorb. You can use that. That's cool. Even if they fail, you can open up a whole new world and campaign with the events that happen from this fucking Rick and Morty campaign. And even if they succeed, which is not as, honestly, I think the ending with Glorb coming out is really cool because it really opens up a lot of doors and the stuff that you could do. Don't at me. But anyways, if they destroy the Trepanator and they kill Sklaboob, they basically make it off the island successfully alive, and they get out and on the sunset, and they turn around and they see the island explode, and that's the end of that mission. They make it back to the sleeping skunk, and yay, party, woo. But it's cool. Either way that it ends is really cool. It's very satisfying for the players too. If I was a player and it ended in either way, I'd be very actually excited to see the continuing effects of the game. But it's there's a lot to this. For it to be a level 1 adventure for 4 to 6 players, it's a lot of fun. So those are the good things. That's the overall setting campaign review. Now, there are a few nitpicks that I do have with it. It says it is stated for level 1 players, 4 to 6 players. And that might be, I don't want to say low, maybe a little too challenging for some people. Because there's a point where people will just instantly die. Like, where's it at? When they get to the lava area, yeah, the caldera, there are events that happen when they're on this thing where they can fall straight into the lava, which is 20 d6 fire damage, which that's going to outright kill a level 1 NPC. That's going to outright kill a level 1 player 9 times out of 10, unless something crazy stupid happens. But yeah, I mean, if you have veteran level 1 players that have played this game before, then they should probably be okay. But if you have new players that, if this is their first time running but if you have new players and this is their first time playing D&D, and they don't know, like, how dangerous some of the factors in the world can be. Like, they see lava, and they think, it's fine, there's no way I'm going to fall, it's a game. Well, yeah, rock falls from the top of the caldera when it shakes from the volcanic eruption, possibly starting to erupt. Make a dex save. A dex save? Yes, make a dex save. 7. Alright, you fall in lava and take 20 d6 of damage. You're dead. Even if you pass the Constitution saving throw, you're still probably dead at level 1, but it's fine. It's, as long as they're careful, they should be okay. Another thing that wasn't really that big a complaint of mine, a lot of modules, they usually have, stat blocks for creatures pretty well already out for the most part. Some do, some don't. This one doesn't. This one actually has specific names for actual creatures in the monster manual. For example, when the players fight Sklablu, he pulls a lever and screams, "It's too late," and orders 4 Glorblings, which are, I'm assuming from Rick and Morty, the comic and whatnot, to attack them all and kill them, which it says to use Duodrone stats. It also says to use the Cult Fanatic stat block for Skloob himself, and there's a few other creatures in the book that it says use the stat block for this, and use this stat block for this creature, and use this one for this creature. Which, not a big deal. If you're going to run this adventure, just make sure you pre-read it and get some sticky tabs written down with the creatures and whatnot that you're going to be using and needing. There's not too many, but, just make sure it's just a lot easier to have them pre-written down. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, yeah, here's one thing. One little, like I said, disappointment on my end is, I guess you could do this, but it wouldn't necessarily. You probably fly through this campaign setting pretty fast if you did this. In the back of the comic book itself, which is really cool, there are actually pre-made Rick and Morty character sheets, which are cool. There's like 6 of them. If I can do this without... Yeah, there's a bunch. If I can get the page. Yeah, especially this one's ridiculous, level 36 wizard. But anyways, yeah, they're cool. Going through this, I initially thought, like, oh, sweet, so this is going to be similar to, like, a starter edition thing where you get to choose, Lillian or Kerr or Keith or Ari, which are the characters that are in the comic and whatnot, and use them to play, again, in the Temple of Glor. But that's not the case, because all these pre-made characters, which I guess you could use in your own campaign, are, level 6. Yeah, they're all level 6, except for G. Willikers Petalbutt, who is a level 4 bard. But not a big deal. Still cool to have. Like, it's a really cool thing to be in the book that's there. Like, the book itself is full of tons of, like, artwork and just cosmetics and, like, really cool D&D inspired stuff. So, like I said, if you're a D&D fan, you're going to enjoy this book, regardless, no matter what. Tons of really cool art. Just, it's sweet. Like, yeah, definitely really cool. The comic artwork, not that I'm doing a straight review on the comic, is very well done. It's very Rick and Morty / D&D esque styled, which is cool. It's really cool. Like I said, I read through the comic. The comic's very, very funny, very good. It's very interesting. If you like D&D, if you like Rick and Morty, you're gonna love this comic book a lot as a whole. Okay, price. This cost me $20. $20, actually not that bad. I can't complain about the price. I like Rick and Morty. I like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a really cool collectible to have, especially if you're one of those book hoarders. Really cool to have to put with your D&D collections and stuff, especially with the module in the back of it. But $20 for the entire book with the comic and the artwork and the campaign itself, yeah, worth it. Totally worth it to me. I would definitely buy this if they made another one like this. I would totally pick it up just because it's cool. And it's got Rick and Morty fighting fucking Tiamat on the cover. I mean, it's that alone. It's just cool to hang up somewhere. And yeah. Overall, I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10. The reason I give it an 8 out of 10 is, my major complaints would be it is pretty short. It's an overall short, little module that would maybe take you, 2-3 hours maybe to run a level 1, which isn't bad, especially if you want to, not get a quick game. It's fine. But, yeah, it's fun. Just kind of short. I'm definitely going to run it. I'm definitely not going to not run it. I'm going to make a lot of fun out of running this. Another complaint I could probably say that I have is that, with it being a Rick and Morty, campaign setting or whatnot, even on the Temple of Glorb artwork for the module itself, it shows, Rick and Morty in the cast of the show fighting Glorb and whatnot. But the campaign has nothing to do with Rick and Morty, really, which is fine. If you got players that aren't into Rick and Morty, that's cool. But if you're a Rick and Morty fan expecting a straight-up Rick and Morty adventure where you're going to play as Rick Sanchez or Morty and you're going to play as their characters and you get to role play as them, that's not really the case. I mean, you could totally do that. Like, you could definitely, just say, I'm playing Rick's character this, and I'm playing Morty's character this. But it's not set up like that, which, like I said, not a big deal. But it's a little misleading. You read the back cover, it includes an all-new exclusive adventure mode created just for this edition. And then there's some more stuff on the back about, the game and the writers and how they went about writing the campaign and their inspirations and stuff. So, a little misleading, but the campaign is still fun. It's going to be fun to play. I don't think I have any issues about that. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to run this with my friends. Maybe the podcast guys. If I can convince Ian to play it, even though he now knows that the campaign is not a Rick and Morty based, campaign. Maybe he'll be more keen to play it. So, yeah, guys, go pick this up. $20, local game shop. Totally worth it. Very minimal complaints. A lot of fun. Artwork's cool, even just to have it. If you like Rick and Morty, you like D&D, you're going to love this book. Straight up. It's a lot of fun. It's cool. It's a good read. The artwork's really good. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Like I said, I'm going to be doing weekly videos, whether it's with me or the other guys on the cast, or I'm going to be having some friends come in for like a video discussion on Dungeons & Dragons and our favorite things we like to do and all those stuff and goodies and... yeah, I got a lot of plans in the works. So, yeah, that's really it. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos now that my house is now complete and everything is all taken care of, and I finally had some time to rest and just breathe for once. But I'm going to be posting videos weekly, whether it's with me or with friends and reviewing something. I'm going to have content very frequently going over tons of different Dungeons & Dragons stuff, dungeon mastering tips, all sorts of goodies and treats for all you guys and friendos and nerds alike. Make sure you listen to our podcast, Cantrip, D&D Podcast. The show is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun recording it. We've got more live shows planned for in the summer. It's a lot of fun. We're thoroughly enjoying doing this. It's hard to believe that we're going on 30 episodes of this already, and then pretty soon we'll be going at this for over a year, and we keep getting more downloads and more fans and all that fun stuff. We also have a Discord channel. I'm going to put a link for that below too. It's called We Cantrip, a D&D Discord. Come hang out and have fun and talk about D&D things. There's also people on there that are always looking to play some D&D games and matches online that I've talked to, and they want to do some Roll20 games. So if you are looking for players to play, that's a good place to go too, because I got some players that are interested, and you can chat with us about certain things and questions and have fun doing stuff. So, yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this review of Rick and Morty vs. D&D, the comic compendium and module review. Again, if you see this at a store for $20 like I did, pick it up. Totally worth having if you're a dungeon master especially, or if you just like D&D and you want to read a really cool D&D book and have a cool collectible, this is the way to go. That is everything. I'm Brandon, the Dungeon Master for We Cantrip D&D Podcast. and I will see you guys next time. Bye.